Hello, Summer. Hey, Summer.
Oh, gosh, I actually.
I'm getting everything set up right now. Hey, if you can't hear us or anything, like text Zachary or somebody or Alicia, and they'll let me know in case if there's any
I can
issues.
hear.
I could have everybody. I'm just going to do the presentation real quick, and then we can resume the bingo. Thank you all for being out here. This is our quarterly meeting for the Fayette Spalding Cooperative. It's great to see so many new faces and faces that we've seen in here before. And so we have great donations. I don't even know how many donations we got for Bloom, but a tremendous amount. We were real worried about like the hygiene products and whatnot. So thank you all for coming together for that. It's going to be great for you. We try to do a donation drive at each of our main events. Our organization, we understand business meetings are kind of boring, so we only have them every 3 months, right? And so just real quickly, I'm just going to kind of go over the Fayette Spalding Cooperative, what we've done over the past year, because it's a new year. Happy New Year's, everybody. And so I just have a few slides, and we'll just kind of go over each one to where we started off last year with our Winter Social of 2023. I think we have more people here at this one now, so thank you guys. Good job. We had our convention in March. Here we have Zachary and Nova doing the Earth Day trash cleanup. We went out to a community out in Waterford and Griffin to clean up, and there was a truckload there. Terry and Maggie got this Let's Fly a Kite event, which is great for the kids. You can see how many of the kids who were present. It was a lot of really good, fun times that they had. And then we also have coffee and conversations. We actually have that monthly. And so everyone here is invited. It's just something to come together, make a third space, casual kind of interface. We also developed a really strong partnership with Manna from Above. They're a food bank out in Griffin. They move something like 10,000 pounds of food a month. If you're not familiar, Griffin isn't doing super swell economically. And so they have a lot more food insecurity. And so we actually got with Manna from Above, and we said, what do y'all need? And they said, we just need people who are willing to work with us, because there's nobody out there coordinating with them, working together and stuff like that. And so now we actually give them 2 dedicated days, volunteer days. We wish we could do more, but a lot of that is just based upon participation. I was invited to the University of Emory for a convening on employee ownership, to where I got to represent the Fayette Spalding Cooperative in our efforts of organizing worker cooperatives. There was a Stop the Bleed course, which was also co-hosted by the Young Democrats of Spalding County, to where we have a gentleman who is in the Atlanta area. He actually does Stop the Bleed training. And so we have several members there. I had my kids there, just how it is nowadays, right? Yes.
I don't know what's.
So Stop the Bleed is to where if you were to get injured by a firearm, you have about 90 seconds to respond to that. And how do you respond? And so that's an event that was hosted down in Griffin. This guy, he used to be like a combat medic, and now he does he works for like the movie industry as like a field medic situation. And then we also have a monthly community cleanup. In this particular situation, we went out to a house that was owned by the county, Spalding County, and it was an abandoned property. We went through, we cleaned it up. It took a lot, huge amount of garbage. But we do other community cleanups. We go to parks.
There was a toilet there.
Yeah, and there was also kind of like a possibly haunted house. So join us for the adventure. Last year, there was a Freedom Rally also hosted by the Young Democrats of Spalding County. I like this because we have a picture of Terry up there with her Fayette Spalding Cooperative shirt. There was an Art in the Park. There was another art event that I'm going to talk with you about, unless if you would like to talk about it, I'll talk about it. It's sort of the end of it. We also participated in the Manna from Above trunk or treat, where we got to post up our tent, hand out candy and literature to the participants there. Last 4th of July, Fayetteville Spalding Cooperative members got together to enjoy the fireworks. We had a fall assembly. It seemed familiar. I always check my previous pictures to make sure I'm wearing a different colored shirt. The Griffin Pride again, Zachary was instrumental in getting that in autumn as well, for the Griffin Pride event. And then we also had an ice cream stroll, and we had a Lake It to the Limit event. Unfortunately, we don't have photos for that at this juncture. We're going to get that, but I believe Terry, because or who is Terry or Zachary? Y'all asked for like what your favorite thing was, and I think the most common thing was the Lake It to the Limit. Again, we try to make our business meetings a little bit more fun. That one was, we actually had out, we played games, kids got to go out to swim. It was actually really cool because the parents who were like, y'all have fun, got to interface, and the parents who were like, oh, I love, interacting with kids, got to do that. So it's really great. And then the last thing is that we're really proud of Zachary Fuller. They're founding member of the Fayetteville Spalding Cooperative. Zachary ran Spalding County Commissioner last year. We did several canvassing activities. We did it's kind of like literature issues. We're highly interested. I think Zachary is interested in running again. Not too loud. And so, yeah, no, thank you, Zachary, for running. Looking forward to seeing you run. So right now our membership count is 50, and we're bringing $173 of dues. And so we've actually kind of grown. Like we started off in 2023 with 24 members. We got another 25 members, and then last I checked, we had one additional member starting in 2025. Our monthly dues, because we have so many new faces within our organization, we actually bar our money being used for compensation for like board of directors. So a lot of nonprofit organizations saw that you'll donate money, and then a lot of that money is going to be used for salaries. We actually don't allow that. All of our membership dues go into events like this. They go into other organizational goals. And so why the Fayetteville Spalding Cooperative? I think we have some critical challenges coming over the next few decades. Climate change, it's hot. Like I'm out here in a sweatshirt, in January. I think there is a rise of fascism and authoritarianism, which is something that only our community, making our community more resilient, is able to effectively combat. And then we do have growing economic instability, especially because like there's a big reason why we're the Fayetteville Spalding, because in one community here, the median household income can be $100,000, but if you cross the Flint River into our neighboring community, it's $30,000 for a household income. And there's a lot of people in Spalding who need help. Not to say there's not people in Fayette who need help as well. But I believe that the institutions that we're currently relying on aren't going to be a really good job with this. Hey, and then, but in order to address these critical challenges, we're looking into new and novel solutions, and we're going to do that by organizing our community. So we're working together to build our community. The Fayetteville Spalding Cooperative has a plan to build the community, and so we try to focus on three main things. We try to focus on community-based services. These are non-market services that we're trying to deploy. These are tool share libraries, child care cooperatives, recipe shares, skill shares, and stuff like that. We'll get into more details on that. We also want to engage with the community. We go out into the community, we help out, we federate with other organizations like Manna from Above in order to make sure that the needs of our community are met. And then we also want to engage in workplace democracy through the establishment of worker cooperatives. Worker cooperatives are just a regular type of business. They operate plug and play with the existing system, but the only difference is that the owners of a worker cooperative are the workers themselves of that. I have a worker cooperative. I'm also assisting other individuals organizing their worker cooperatives. There's actually a big movement for worker cooperatives in the state of Georgia now. I'm actually working with the Georgia Cooperative Development Center. They're trying to do a legislative push to get legal recognition for worker cooperatives. And, oh, this didn't come out too well. Just imagine this looks better. So, here's how I'm trying to, a different way that I'm trying to portray what we're trying to do as an organization within the Fayetteville Cooperative. And so there's three different levels that we can develop into. We're going to start on the bottom where there's community interaction, there's community organizing above that, and there's community autonomy. And so right now, we're here at this interaction phase. This is the phase where it's like we're going out and we're helping Manna from above with their systems. We're having just kind of like these social events. We're doing the one-off community cleanups and stuff like that. But we can advance into the actual community organizing aspect of it. And I'll talk about this in a little bit so we can kind of same page it. But this is where we're actually providing for the community through our own institutions, our own programs, our own systems. And then if we're successful with that, then we can get to a community autonomy to where it's like we can just look to each other, we can look to our neighbors, or we can come together and realize that we have everything that we need within our community in order to kind of make our community a better place for everyone. And so right now we're here at this interaction stage, and how we maintain it is that I'm looking for more participation in the administrative and work group committees. And so just so that y'all know, we have these administrative committees where we have membership, communications, record, finance, and tech. These are ones where we need individuals who can help us out. To where with membership, we try to do outreach, we try to get new members, we try to man tables at events and stuff like that. Communications, we send out emails, we send out social media, send out texts. Records, if you're good at taking minutes, if you're good at document organization, finance, even if you're not good with finance, we'll train you, right? Because we also want to engage in other financial related activities such as grant writing. And then tech, if you're good with tech, so it's like you would help us get everything set up, helping manage these things. These are all the administrative committees of the Fayetteville Cooperative. Even if you don't know how to do the job, we'll teach you. We need people just to step up into these. But then we also have some existing working groups and other committees that do things out in the community. So it's like we have the Family Connections. Alicia here is helping us organize Family Connections, which is going to include our babysitting cooperative. It includes kind of like social events, family friendly events and whatnot. Our mutual aid, I'll kind of talk about that right now. Our mutual aid group is where we're volunteering at the food banks. Electoral, Zachary is going to actually talk with us a little bit later about our electoral work group and how we think that we can come through assist candidates. Because I used to be a candidate. Zachary is a candidate. We kind of understand how difficult it is and what the infrastructure needs to be built there. That's what we're trying to build. Agriculture is for individuals who want to go out and make community gardens. I want to make a $300 chicken coop that we can start distributing. One of my favorite statistics is that if 1 out of every 3 of our neighbors had their own chicken flock, we wouldn't need eggs. And it's like, I don't care about the prices of eggs anymore because I have egg supply of my own and I can supply my neighbors with it. Civic engagement, we need to be going out there and actually teaching the community at a 6th grade reading level complicated issues like what is racism, what is white supremacy, what is worker cooperativism, etc. Because these are issues that a lot of people aren't too familiar with. And then worker development is the establishment of worker cooperatives, skill shares, managing the tool share. What I'm asking for is that I think that we can get at least 1 hour per month of time out of folks, where that's just showing up to one event, one meeting per month. I don't think it's too unrealistic to ask for that. And then again, like 100% of our membership dues are reinvested. And a good way for membership dues to determine how much you think you should be paying is that we're asking for around an hour of your wages per month. So if you make $11 an hour, we're just asking monthly dues of $11. And again, that money is democratically used and allocated. And so how do we build into community organizing? This is the part where I tell you kind of where we can be moving whenever we have sufficient amount of participation. With agriculture, we want to organize community gardens, manage the seed bank. We want to build, again, the $300 chicken coop kind of situation. We want to do education. With mutual aid, there's been an idea going around of sewing circles where we can teach members how to sew. We already have people who do so. Textiles are the number 1 cause of pollution, industrial pollution. And we can actually be getting clothes, repairing them, and recirculating them. Working for development, we want to organize Skillshare workshops. Like I'm familiar with I know how to do HTML programming for websites. I can teach people how to do that. We all benefit because then it's not just me making the website, right? And we want to organize worker cooperatives. These are going to, our initial worker cooperatives are going to be ones that are easy to get into, cleaning services and whatnot. For civic engagement, I talked on this a little bit, where we'll talk on worker cooperatives and unionization and other issues that just aren't really necessarily discussed too much. And family connections are ones where it's like, we can get childcare cooperatives going and other things, but we can only do these programs through more participation. Going on into the next, in 3 months, we're gonna have our convention. And so again, we have our main business meetings every 3 months. And our convention is our biggest one. I hope everyone here can attend the convention, because what we do at the convention is two things. We determine what we're going to do for the year, for the upcoming year. And we kind of vote. We just say like, well, we want to make a community garden. And so we would say, well, we're going to do community gardens this year. And then we elect officers in order to actually get that done. That's kind of how the Fayetteville Cooperative works. The membership comes together, says this is what our organization is going to do for the next year. The people that we elect in say we'll get it done. We're going to be electing 8 officers in March, and that's for all the main, finance, tech, et cetera, including 2 at large who we kind of place within other administrative things. So if you're interested in that, do think about it, because we're looking for anybody to step up. We actually kind of want to cycle a little bit. Like Terry is a phenomenal secretary, but honestly, if somebody else is secretary, then Terry can still help out. And now we have kind of like 2 de facto secretaries, And so that's what we're going to be doing in the year to come. I'm trying to get us ready for an actual physical office location. I've been working pretty diligently on this. We already have 2 locations that we can get the space. One location is nice. It has an office space and like a shared communal space, probably about the size of this room, to be honest, a little bit more square. But other than that, we could get access to an entire community center. The rent for the community center is $800 a month though, which isn't too terrible. But what we are doing is if you log in to your home portal at home.fayette-spalding.coop, you'll see, if you click on the profile, you'll see how much your membership dues are, and you can change dues. And if you're not currently enrolled in dues, then you can sign up for dues. It's all done through Stripe. Again, just imagine this looks better. So our regular schedule, our schedule is available on our website, fayette-spalding.coop. But our regular schedule is we try to keep it consistent every first Tuesday, first Saturday, et cetera. The main things are like we do the community cleanup on every first Saturday. Our manna from above every second and fourth, every second Monday and every fourth Tuesday. Coffee and conversations every third Saturday, and then new member orientation is on every third Wednesday, which is posted. But again, this calendar is available on the website. There is currently, we're trying to get a paint pottery, and where exactly is this one? Sash Studios in Griffin. And so we're trying to get a gauge to see who might be interested in doing this activity, because there's a process that's involved with actually getting the place, and then also kind of like individual setups. And so if you are interested in that, let us know. Do you want to let Terry know? And then we'll get that coordinated. And did you want to, what is it, just kind of like you just paint the pottery, or? Yeah, okay, do you make the pottery?
They make the front pieces, and then once it was glazed, and we put it in the film for that, and then come back 2 weeks later, and it's fired up. Dishwasher safe.
Cool, yeah, so if that's something y'all are interested in, we'll be on reaching out with that. And so now we're just gonna kind of move into we already did the New Year's resolutions. We already did one of the draft for drawings, but I'll have Zachary come up to speak on electoral stuff quick. Hey.
I've got my own presentation. And I am taking over the electoral. No signal. That's not good. I don't know why it's not working again. Huh. That's so weird.
Turn off the TV. There's one thing that you're always gonna learn about it. We always have a technical problem. with the
You want me to make
presentation.
my pitch?
You're not special. Yeah, come on,
Sure.
yeah, come on.
Okay, I have an interesting opportunity that
Then kind
kind
for
of-
the camera.
that kind of came up organically. It's not official yet, but I think it will be. If anyone has like a passing interest in weather science, I actually stopped by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, where the National Weather Service is located in Peachtree City, and spoke to a meteorologist and have just applied for an opportunity to come out and take a tour. So if anybody has an interest in maybe coming out and seeing how they make the weather forecasts, how they put out tornado, warnings and stuff like that, could be a good opportunity to do that. And also considering, I think the policies coming forward are talking about defunding those programs and privatizing them. Now would be a good time to understand how they work and explain to other people their importance.
That'd be interesting.
Okay, so, hi, everybody. Most of y'all know me, but for those of you who don't, my name is Zachary Fuller. I'm the member at large for this organization, and I'm also the former president of the Young Democrats of Spalding County. And that's why I'm doing this presentation, is I'm taking over the electoral work group because our chapter has went dormant. And I'll talk about that at the end of the presentation about what happened and what our failures were. But I'm giving the FSC all of our 2025 plans because we had a lot of things planned for the year, and I'm going to go over that. So we're going to start with a little bit of background. The Young Democrats of America is the largest youth-based political action organization. It was started in 1932, and in the past couple of decades has trained hundreds of elected officials and thousands of campaign staffers. So it's a lot of great opportunities. Last year we helped elect Devontae Jennings to the Georgia State Chapter presidency. He was the president of the Clayton County chapter and did a lot of help getting us set up here in Spalding. But we'll just quickly go over election results because the previous organization I worked for was specifically for the Democratic Party. And if we look at the results from the 2024 election, there's 5,505 votes away from Kamala Harris flipping the county, which is important because Spalding County is the second most likely to flip blue that has been historically red in the state of Georgia. The number one county is Fayetteville, which is only about 2,000 votes away from flipping blue. So there's a lot of ways you can get involved. This is the way we had it set up in our chapters. You would have a president who would be the face of the chapter, go to the most events, spend the most time doing stuff, a vice president to help out the president and other members, communications director, who I would call the propagandist in chief. This is the person that'd be running the social media and stuff like that. And then the treasurer, of course, was the treasurer, take care of the money, approve any checks or anything like that so that we know where all of our money is coming from and where it's going. And that's all of our board. So the reason we were so important is that it's surprisingly easy to jump from being a regular voter to being a politician or campaign staffer, but people think it's very difficult. Really, the hardest part is knowing when to do it or where to do it. But once you sign the paperwork, all you've got to do is have strong beliefs and be able to sign your name. And it's important for us to step up because if you think about politicians, most of them are either like Nepo babies are interested in helping the wealthy, or they're regular people who understand the struggles that regular working class people have. And so this is the process we've been using. So this is our goals for 2025. And it starts with, excuse me, starts our process with recruiting a dedicated team We do this through our chapter leadership elections, but really it can be as simple as getting a couple friends together and agree on something. You just need people who are going to be able to put in the work. And the next is securing community partnerships. This part, I have to say, you can't force this part. This has to be grassroots. When you put yourself and your ideas out there, you have to then listen to people, especially those that are already doing the work, and don't try and come in and take anything over. Listen and see how you can help. And that brings us to the next step, a robust and diversified ground game. I believe that as a political organization, we shouldn't just be putting up yard signs or talking about who you should vote. We should be doing volunteer work. Like, this is actually something I did with the FSC. That's me and William dropping off some donations for the Manna from Above food pantry. And that's something you want to meet people where they are. So it's not just doing the donation work because that's something good that's going to help the community, but also doing socials like this or anything else you might find in your community, and make sure you talk to people who don't already agree with you. So from my perspective as the Young Democrats president, I didn't want to just go talk to Democrats. I actually specifically wanted to talk to people who either don't vote or vote Republican. And that leads us to our actual 2025 focus, and that's flipping the Griffin City. It's a nonpartisan board made up of 7 people, including the mayor, and 4 seats are up for election this year. So through doing these first 3 steps, which should be done over and over again, we can then get to finding, recruiting, training, running, and winning candidates. I ran for District 5 in 2021. I only lost by 21 votes. The city of Griffin overwhelmingly votes for Democrats on a presidential level, but local elections, a lot of people don't vote. Like there was, I think, 295 people that voted in that election. And like I said, only 21 votes away from the seat flipping from an incumbent who's been there since 2003 to a new, younger working class person. And that leads us to our long-term growing of the base. That's what our organization aims for, is actually growing that base of voters and getting more engagement. And that's something that FSC, obviously it's a lot more than voted for FSC, but growing community engagement, super important. So our organization fights for young people to have a voice in our government. We do that through youth engagement, civic and political education, and voter and volunteer mobilization. But specifically the community events is what I'm handing over to the FSC. So it's no longer going to be the Young Democrats doing it. It's going to be the Fayetteville Spalding Cooperative. William talked about this in his presentation, the Earth Day cleanup. We were doing that every year every year we've gone to the Waterford community, West Griffin, because the county has not helped them keep the neighborhood clean, even though there's long stretches of it that is not someone's private property. It's public city property. So we took it upon ourselves, since the city wasn't cleaning it up, to do it. And we would like to expand that to have multiple groups to go to multiple different neighborhoods in the future. Democracy was just an event we came up with to help get people out and vote on election day. We'd go to a coffee shop on election day with like gear that remind people it's election day. And we would pay for campaign staffers' beverages. But then the thing I think is our biggest accomplishment is the Griffin LGBTQIA+ Pride Month pop-up. I'm biased though. I organized the first one in 2021 at Griffin City Park because I looked for queer events for Pride Month in the local area. I couldn't find any. Closest ones were in Atlanta, which is great that they have them, but not everyone lives there. So we started one up, had a decent participation. Next year came back more and more, and we've done it every year since. The Young Democrats took over organizing and staffing it, but now the FSC will be taking it over. We also, of course, did game nights and socials and try to make those safe spaces for disabled and neurodiverse people, because that's something that's kind of hard to find sometimes. And then Queer Shoot Back, William also touched on, but it's a project we started to try and teach LGBTQIA+ people things that a lot of times are gatekept out. Like if you look at firearm safety or even going to the gun range, a lot of times those will be run by conservative groups. And if you go, you may feel like you need to cover up your identity or whatever. So our project is to take those things and make it more available by giving you people who have those skills that are queer friendly. Like the one event we did last year was with a member of Wall of Vets, which is an Atlanta-based organization for veterans to then go and educate people and do security in certain events. So we had a member from Wallaback come and teach us how to do life-saving things like CPR, stop the bleed, and what to do in the event of a shooting. Like if someone gets shot, how to deal with it, when to call 911, all these. So that's what I'm passing on, and I won't hold you too much longer. I will say the reason our organization failed, we had a good membership drive. From the start, we had 7 dedicated members. That's the dedicated team I'm talking about. And we went up to about 14 members in the summer of 2023. But then around October of 2023, members started falling off. And we could not get membership back. And by December, I was like, let me call a caucus meeting, which is where you have to come in person to actually vote. See if I can get people to show up so we can get 2025 leadership elected. 2 people showed up. So we went dormant. But the FSC has had an opposite. You saw Williams' chart, opposite. And so that's why I believe the FSC is where I should be putting my focus. So any questions? Yes.
Do you have a sense of what membership?
So I have a guess. Because it was around October of 2023, that's when the leaders in the Democratic Party, the national leaders, decided to back Israel in their invasion of Gaza. And I think that's why people don't like Democrats, really. I mean, there's a lot of reasons people don't like Democrats, but the ones that did like them and then stopped wanting to be involved, I have a good feeling. And I'm totally against it. Well, that's not good. But
Me too.
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah.
I will also say that Griffin, just in general, is hard for political activation.
Yeah, and as we got closer to the 2024 election, it's like less and less people were interested. Because for a while, we had our core members that still would show up to events, but they didn't want their name on any official documents. And then by the end, it's just 50 people to gather around the name Democrat. But my values are not with the Democratic Party. My values are what's with right and wrong. So even though I personally vote for Democrats, I'll work with anybody as long as we're trying to make the community better. Anyone else?
Yeah, I vote Democratic, but the National Committee, I do not,
Right.
you know.
Yes.
When somebody is running for office, how much fundraising do they need to do to move on to what they need to do to be successful?
Okay, so the minimum fundraising you need is to qualify. And that's gonna change depending on what office you're running for. Like when I ran for local office, it's about $400. Because it's a percentage of the amount you're gonna get paid per year in that position, is how we do it in the state of Georgia. And so it's usually pretty low, but a couple $100.
I need 15,000 for mine.
Oh, well, that's a lot.
Well, if I
It
get the
was
total.
state level.
Because you're in Fayette County, the rich county.
Yeah, well,
Yeah. But then after that, you're just gonna need signs and literature, and it depends on your constituency. So I would say about $1,000 per 300 to 400 people. So if you've got a constituency, like when I ran for the district seat, it was about 4,000 people. And so I needed about $2,500 to reach all of those people. And then in my next race, it was about 13,000 people. So I would have needed a lot more. Wasn't able to raise that much. It was a very red seat, so the state party did not want to give me any funding. But still, you don't need that much to start, but then to be successful, you're going to need an amount to sustain you reaching your constituents. And that's just sending letters, doing yard signs, and getting volunteers to do door knocking. But also volunteers can do it for free. So if you get free volunteers, that'll save you some, you know?
Thank you, Zach. We can just leave it up because I'm pretty much done with like an open floor. Is there anything else anybody else wants to bring up at this juncture? Any other events that anybody else wants to speak on? So I'm gonna hand out our little literature, and if you look on the back, just because so many of y'all aren't members yet, if you look on the back, there's a website, there's a QR code, and everything. It's free to join the organization. But then for everybody else, you have to hand it out to somebody. Yeah. Then, so are there any other questions or anything about the organization before we kind of adjourn? This? Yes.
I think we should talk about.
Yeah, okay. So the center just, thank you. The center just is our monthly publication. We're trying to make it into a community magazine. And so what we're actually looking, we don't want a newsletter that's just like, on this day we went and did this, on this day we went and did that. We want it to be more inclusive about what our community is. So it's like anything that you want to write on. Like this edition for the Synergist, we're going to be talking about how you could get your yard prepared for your own chicken flock, what that process is. We want art submissions, poem submissions, writings, anything else that you think is important, we'll put it in. It's a digital publication. We can literally put it into that. You can go to synergist.fayette/spalding.coop. If you're a member, you can log in through our home application as well. So, thank y'all for coming out. Yes.
All right, so before you adjourn, we have a game still to play and
Yeah.
you have more food to eat, please, people.
Yes, please eat
So
food.
let's.
We're gonna open up the
get
door because they got
some refreshments
stuff in here.
While we set up the game.
Yeah, and I'll say one more thing about the Synergist, because I'm taking over this year as the lead editor for the Synergist, so please, you can go contact@zacharyfuller.com, that's my email. Email me any submissions or ideas you have for that. It can be anything from art, questionnaires, games, or just stories, leads, literally anything, just your idea.
I'm collecting bingo sheets. Oh, here you go. Kelly, try this one? I guess so. Get some food, please. Get out, get out. I don't want to take it out.
Oh, why not?
Cause I got friends that do at home. Yeah. Betty made it yesterday. Yeah.
I don't have a date.
Okay.
So I am waiting for a response. Your orders at the office. I would like to see what I know.
Okay, let's see. Thank y'all so much. We're gonna be closing it out here. Thank y'all for participating. And we'll be posting this online as well. Bye.